Heather, you talked about honing your message. What are your suggestions on reducing your 5,000-word investigative piece into sound bites that translate to video?
Exactly. You have to think about, what 3 things do I want the audience to walk away with from my 5,000 words of reporting or 10,000 words? And then you actually have to physically sit and type it down. Pick 3 bullet points. I want my audience to know A, B, and C. Once you pick the 3 bullet points, then you can expand on that by writing 4 or 5 sentences to support that bullet point. And then actually remember them, practice them, say them out loud, talk about it, have someone ask you a question and say, here's what my answer is, and then ask them to repeat back that message to see if you accurately conveyed it.
How do you say a message when your host isn't interested in your message?
It's a matter of acknowledging the question that they've asked you and figuring out how you can incorporate your message into that answer. And that's actually when you have to use your brain in an interview. So if they ask you about one topic, you address the topic that they've answered in more of an agnostic way and acknowledging it. Then you have to use your brain and figure out, what is the linkage between their question and the message that I want to convey, link it, and then deliver your message. But remember, in some cases, you have to do that within 15 seconds. So my point is, practice. Practice before you walk into the studio, because it's only through practice that you can make progress and succeed in your performance.
And do you have quick do's and don'ts on attire? Let's start with women.
With women, probably don't wear what I'm wearing it right now. With women, the main thing is that you want to make sure that your appearance doesn't fight against your message and the whole purpose of why you're in the interview. So make sure that you remove distraction. In this case, I don't know if it's showing, but I have bright orange that pops out. But for women, it's often chandelier earrings. Big, bright, bold earrings. If you are a pop star, you're an actress, that's one thing. But if you're covering policy on Capitol Hill, they're probably having you on an interview for your knowledge. So I say make sure that the neckline is appropriate for your audience and also the topic that you cover. Wear colors that either convey either enthusiasm if you're talking about something fun, uplifting, but if it's more business, that you wear of a color scheme that maybe is more grounded, neutrals, that doesn't distract from you. That your necklace is something that's simple. And once again, it doesn't distract, it doesn't take over. Scarves, you don't really need them. And in fact, if you wear the wrong scarf, well, that could be something everyone remembers. And I've talked about Apple when they launched the iPhone 6. The gentleman who actually helped them demonstrate that device was wearing an infinity scarf while lovely outside. The fact is, Twitter sphere took off, and there were so many pictures of this man in his infinity scarf that no one actually was talking about the device that Apple spent. Who knows how much money it developing, and also the amount of money it took to launch that product.
And do's and don'ts for men in general?
The main thing with men is to make sure that you iron your shirt. That if you're wearing a long sleeve button-up shirt, that the collar fits if you're wearing a tie. That if you're wearing a solid shirt, that you have a jacket over it to add depth and to your shot. That it breaks it up a little bit. Also, it reduces on shadow. And if you're wearing a polo shirt or a button-up and you're not wearing a tie, that you're actually wearing a t-shirt underneath, because you don't actually, even as men, don't want to reveal too much information. The important thing to remember when you're sitting for an interview is that you're not sitting in a lazy boy, and you're not sitting slumped over at your desk. You're actually there to, for lack of a better word, perform. So it's important to remember that the chair is just here to help support you. It's not here for you to collapse into. Main thing is you don't sit into the chair. For me, there's at least about 6 inches behind me. I am sitting on the front part of the chair. The other part that people often forget is that you actually sit on your hamstrings. The weight of your body is on your hamstrings. It's actually not on my butt. What that does is allows the body to start aligning. It allows the abs to engage down. It allows the lats to engage and lift my body up, so my posture goes forward. Remember, we live in a forward motion. We're not living back here. And in an interview, you want to engage forward with your audience. Your shoulders actually go out. They don't go behind. Your shoulders actually live towards the front of you, and they're supported by the lats, which are engaged because I'm sitting on my hamstrings. And so the shoulders are pushed out. What that does, it allows the lift here, which gives some air for my delivery. And then my chin goes up and leads me forward. It leads my chin, actually, if you want to think about listening to the person interviewing, think about listening to them with your chin angled at them. When you're talking to someone else, your chin, because what that does is it lifts the entire body forward. It also means that it's easier to engage with your eyes. The other thing with your arms and your elbows actually live in front of you. And that also helps allow you to hold your upper body. When you are giving an interview, you want to lean forward, back, but you never want to be back here because that just collapses the whole thing. Now, there's a difference between, I don't know if you see it, difference between me sitting like this and how I really sit at work. This is how I like to work. There's a big difference, I think, when it comes to camera. Even how I breathe and how I talk has been restricted this way. Not all interviews today are done in a chair. There are more standing studios. And so for women, it's important, there's something called the right model's pose. The right model's pose is basically a front foot at 45 degrees. Your other foot goes behind you. Engage your lats. Once again, you're engaging your abs to go down, your lats lift you up, and then you square your shoulders off. In fact, you'll see a lot of actresses will go into this pose for photo shoots. We like to think it has a slimming effect. But it also stops you from fidgeting and walking around. So then, if you need to shift weight, you're shifting, but you're not moving around. For men, it's a matter of taking that foot that's behind and moving it to the front. Foot can be forward or to the side. Once again, remember when you're standing for an interview, your shoulders go out, your arms actually live in front of you, your elbows, and that also helps engage your back and shoulders. And then lastly, remember, lead with your chin.